The survivor's investment in the pathological narcissistic space. The seduction of the space. The survivor did not fall in love with a person. They fell in love with a constructed environment that made them feel exceptional, chosen, reflected, absorbed. The space was assembled round them, not just emotionally, but symbolically. It included status linked objects, the home, the car, shared rituals, libidinal clues, intensity, attention, symbolic gifts, and social elevation, being seen with them, adored through them. They were not entering a relationship, they were stepping into a symbolic kingdom. And for a time, we belonged. However, the narcissistic space is not neutral. The pathological narcissistic space is a curated psychic environment designed to uphold the narcissist's false self. It is populated not just by people, but by objects. Objects of symbolic resonance, trophies, status emblems, prestige architecture, idealized roles, mother, lover, muse, advisor. Everything in the space has a function to sustain the illusion of grandiosity and control. The survivor becomes one of these objects, adored not as a self, but as a reflection. And when the discard happens, well, the collapse means exile from the kingdom. When the survivor no longer merge or dares to rupture the illusion, they are expelled from the space, stripped of status and belonging, smeared, rewritten as the enemy of the realm. This isn't a breakup, it's banishment. Everything that gave emotional meaning inside the space, friends, children, rituals, reputation, is withdrawn and weaponized. You don't just lose the narcissist, you lose your place in the world that they built around you. What the survivor grieves is not just the narcissist, it is the loss of the merged self that finally felt seen, the symbolic role they inhabited, the external environment that once held them in place. This is why survivors speak of reality feeling hollow, life losing colour, and identity fracturing. The symbolic map has collapsed. They are not just grieving a partner, they are grieving the self that they saw inside the mirrored space. And there is a compulsion to re enter. Even after the abuse, even after the betrayal, many survivors feel pulled to seek reconciliation, to rebuild the space with objects that already exist within it, to go back looking for the narcissist within the pathological narcissistic space, to prove that they were good enough to stay, and they collapse into despair when re entry fails. This is not weakness. This is libidinal addiction to the mirrored self, a psychological death drive rooted in symbolic abandonment. The survivor loops not to be loved, but to re exist. The narcissistic space is structural, not incidental. The victim is positioned, not loved. The grief is not just loss, it is symbolic exile. Healing begins when the survivor sees the space for what it was, a kingdom of mirrors built on a lie. Peace out.